Hello, everyone. I am looking for more coverage on this conversation between Trump and Turkey's Erdogan. And there are many reasons for this. I am trying to figure out where Erdogan is going with this. For starters, people might ask, so what's his deal? Well, if you look at the map, so there's Ukraine on top of the Black Sea. Guess what's on the other side of the Black Sea? Turkey. And Turkey has a long and tumultuous history with Ukraine. There's been plenty of mutual hostilities between Turkey and Ukraine, between Turkey and Russia. So Turkey definitely has a stake in this game. The question is what they're trying to achieve. Along with China, Turkey has been vying for the position of a potential peacemaker between the two countries. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, since both Russia and Ukraine have some mistrust in Turkey. As a leader, Erdogan is much closer to Putin. He's an autocrat and a tyrant. But when it comes to the international position, that's a different matter. The question for Turkey is, whom do you guys prefer as your next door neighbor, specifically in Crimea? Whom do you want to control that part of the Black Sea, which leads right up to you? My best guess would be, given their druthers, Turkey would prefer Ukraine, because Ukraine is reasonable. They may not be the BFFs, but Ukraine can at least be reasoned with, and at least there would be some reassurance that Ukraine is not going to try to invade and hack off a piece of territory. And I wouldn't put it past Russians. I mean, considering these are the same people who want Poland, some Romania, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, and Finland, and possibly Alaska. So, there is that. And, of course, there is also the question of Turkey's EU membership, which it has been applying for some time now. It's been in the process of applying for the EU membership, but the problem is the authoritarian regime, the inequality that exists, the human right violations, the history of war and conflict surrounding Turkey in the modern day. So I think another reason Turkey is trying to position itself potentially closer to a deal between Russia and Ukraine is to have some points in its favor to say, see, I'm not a warmonger. I helped with Russia and Ukraine. So that's going on. In the end of the day, all one has to remember that Erdogan is a selfish, power-hungry man. So whatever he says and whatever he does goes toward staying in power as long as possible. I'm hoping to have more information on this, so let's treat this as a developing story. Meanwhile, Ukraine unleashed some more drones that had caused Moscow airports to close, and the drones themselves, I don't think they caused any damage. They were just there, and people freaked out, which is fine by me. All of Moscow's 4 major airports shut down for a few hours. As you might imagine, for a major city like that, and these are all international airports. That would be problematic. There were no casualties, nothing tragic happened. And again, I think Ukraine understands that when they launch drones in the direction of Moscow, in that area, that part of Russia, they're probably just going to be shot down, which is fine. Moscow, being the capital, is going to be better protected than, for example, the border regions or more obscure cities. But again, the purpose is not so much to cause damage, the purpose is psychological warfare. And especially when we consider the fact that Moscow is due to hold a military parade on May 9th. And we talked about the significance of the date for both Russia and Ukraine. So having drones buzzing overhead as you're trying to plan a big show like that, show of power, yeah, it's mostly just mockery on Ukraine's part. And it's also basically giving the finger to Moscow as they're pretending to consider another ceasefire. Again, the point is why did you have to wait this long? You could have declared a ceasefire anytime. You're the invading army. So when it became clear that there would be foreign dignitaries, such as they are, from Russia's allies, such as they are, traveling in for this ridiculous parade, Zelensky basically just said, we're not responsible for what happens on the territory of Russian Federation. Just like that. So, travel at your own risk, is the message here. Meanwhile, Ukraine has no reason to be nice because it continues to be pounded by extensive drone attacks launched overnight. One person was killed in Odessa. 11 people were injured in Kharkiv when the city's central market has been struck and destroyed in a fire. Fighting continues in Kursk region of Russia, even though a week ago Moscow said, victory, we have gotten rid of Ukrainians there. And overall, there continue to be skirmishes along the front. Institute for the Study of War, as usual, has an excellent summary if you want details. I haven't visited with them in a while, but if you're into that type of information, definitely peruse their site. No, I don't care who's running it. I have been asked, and I have checked, and this is credible information, so no, I don't care who owns it. And Institute for the Study of War agrees that basically Russia's purpose in Ukraine is capitulation of Ukraine, which is not happening. And that pisses them off. So, back to this map. This is what the situation looks like right now. Again, their maps are excellent. This shows you progress from both ends and further developments. And if we zoom in, there's my native city of Zaporizhia, where my parents live. So, see, there's Zaporizhia, there's the front line. Yes, it is as close as it looks. So here's a more detailed map from the Zaporizhia region, showing where the fighting currently is taking place. Somewhere in there is the tiny little village of Plavny, where my family used to have a garden. It had since been bombed out by the Russians. More to come.